Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming back and listening to the Leon LeGray podcast, episode 145. On today's episode, here on the good, the bad, and everything that you need to know about technology of the week and things and stuff like that needs to be discussed. Thanks for coming by and check up on the podcast. If you're a first time listener, thank you so much for coming in, taking a quick listen. And if you are a returning listener, thank you so much for coming back as always. And if you love this message or love this episode, please be sure to rank or review down below on iTunes, Google, or wherever you listen to me on. A rating will be nice, and I do read all of them for sure. So before I begin, I wanted to go ahead and take a quick word of a few of my sponsors, which today I'm going to go over Brave. Brave has been a very good browser that I've been using for some time now. I love Brave, and I think Brave is actually a very secure browser overall, and it's done a pretty good job, and they have been working a lot since, and that's what I liked about Brave, which Brave does a fantastic job on privacy and security. That's one of the things I like about a browser that does really well. Though there are tons of privacy browsers out there that does really good, but this one right here has been doing a very knocked up job as far as privacy and security is going. And actually, which what I like the most with Brave, however, they are taking bold steps towards allowing a decentralized web, which is absolutely brilliant. Good on them. Seriously, really good on them. And best part about it too, it is absolutely free. You can download it on the Brave website. And if you go onto the affiliate link down below, that right there, you can use Brave not also just for browsing, but you can use BAT tokens to support me as a creator. So if you want to do that, by all means, go ahead and do so. Go ahead and check out brave.com. Second on the list is Zenni. And as you guys know that how much I love Zenni. I love Zenni's glasses because Zenni glasses protects you from blue light coming from the screen. And if you don't have that on your prescription glasses, then you must have anti-blue light glasses because there are tons of harmful effects that will do to your vision. Having to read, work on the computer for long hours of the day, and especially with me, I don't just work. I do game as well, and for gamers, it will be stressing having to go through hours and hours on end on Counter Strike, because that is something that is an eye straining game for a lot of you hardcore players out there. And to me, that's something I recommend all my viewers on getting Zenni's Zenni. Go ahead, check it out. It is wonderful. Last but not least is Podbeam. Podbeam has been around since 2006, and it's worked great as a podcast hosting provider, and which I use it a lot. And that was one of the main reasons I've switched from Anchor to Podbeam. That was one of the main reasons I love Podbeam to begin with. And also, you can upload episodes whenever you want. There's no limit, and also if you use the affiliate link down below, you can it'll be pretty much a 30-day trial. And if you don't like Podbeam within 30 days, no foul, no harm. You can always go ahead and cancel at any time and switch to your old hosting provider from your choice. So that being said, right here too, all the affiliate links are on the description down below on the show notes. So with that said, welcome to the Leon LeGray podcast. We have tons of news to cover up today too. Oh boy. So this is a very good step. Good steps that we're since now we're talking about online privacy, online news that's been going on now. And I've been saying with what's been happening, especially with centralized systems and the way we are seeing this is definitely a collapse, a collapse of cards. A house of cards are just going to start to collapse at any moment, and nobody in people's mind will ever realize how serious this gets right there too. And I not just a technical perspective, I think a political perspective right there too. And gosh, and I will tell you that with everything so politicized since back on yesterday on the 20th, I didn't even pay a single bit of attention what went on with the inauguration. To me, I'm no fan of Joe Biden, and I'll say is that, gosh, holy shit, I almost felt like yesterday was just the biggest Hunger Game, and I know that there's going to be much more damage to come to not just people's people's right of freedom, but it's now starting to make the USS of A. I mean, basically, we're like coming to the systems of the Soviet Union. The way we are turning out, basically, it's just disgusting. Way disgusting. What we're definitely seeing, and then also the internet. We're gonna get into a story which I think it gives me a bit of hope that a company is doing something for decentralizing the web, which is awesome. And Brave browser, which I've always sponsored Brave browser right from the very beginning of the show, and I love Brave browser, and I've been using Brave browser for now, I'd say about for a couple years. 2017, yeah, 2017. Holy cow! And here I am reading this post from reclaimthenet.org, which this was posted not too long ago, actually. That was back on the 19th, which says Brave browser makes a bold step towards allowing a decentralized web. And just to read further on, it says, if you're tired of the destruction of digital civil liberties, Brave, one of the most secure and fastest web browsers, has now taken crucial steps in existing its support to a decentralized web. Brave is now going to offer native integration with a peer-to-peer networking protocol and is the first mainstream browser to do. That's awesome. Seriously. Again, this article continues. The Brave browser use of the IPFS, which stands for Interplanetary File System, technology to improve upon the existing HTTP protocol while also increasing the speed of accessing content. Generally speaking, HTTP obtains information from a central server, but IPFS, however, obtains information from a network of distributed nodes. Simply put, using IPFS is more or less like downloading from BitTorrent instead of downloading from a central server. So each time you access a website from Brave browser, the internet content is obtained from various distributed nodes. Seriously, that's super. IPFS not only helps lower server costs for website owners and content publishers, but it also helps makes a web content more immune to censorship, promoting internet freedom. Brave has also been offering early support from IPFS since 2018, but with the latest 1.19 version, users can now use IPFS directly. URLs must either be started with IPFS colon / instead of HTTP colon / or a full IPFS node in one click must be installed. That's okay. That's fascinating. So that right there, I don't have any of that, IPFS protocol installed right there too. Not that I know of though. I have to check with my browser to see if I have that. So that's super cool. I like that. Just getting away from the HTTP centralization of the web, moving towards a decentralization of the web, which is super awesome. I love it. And it then continues on. IPFS gives users a solution to the problem of centralized servers creating a central point of failure for content access. It says Brian Bonney, CTO of Brave, Molly McNeely, IPFS project led, said that the usage of decentralized web can help beat systematic data censorship. So that's cool. This is what I'm talking about right there too. I love this stuff. I mean, this is a really cool project. What the people in Brave are doing. Seriously, this is very awesome, and I think it's definitely going to solve a lot of the faults that's what's going on in our own centralized web right now. And the truth be told, I mean, we've got this is like definitely building the second internet. It's like building up a brand new internet from the ground up. And the protocol, instead of HTTPS, the centralized version, IPFS, which is a decentralized version of the web. You look at it right there too. This is super awesome, and that's one thing I like about this whole brand new step. And don't want to be shilling on Brave right there too. Though you guys can do whatever you want, I think this is absolutely awesome. What they're trying to do. I mean, exactly. I support 100% of decentralization. This is something the internet we must have for sure. Absolutely. So with that said, go ahead, guys, check it out. Please check up on Brave's new project, and also download the recent version that came out, 1.19 of Brave, if you have not. And second story of today, in which this is something that I wanted to definitely go over. And for those of you guys don't know or have not listened to yesterday's episode, and what's been going on, and I know that this is something I haven't covered yesterday, but I know with the administration, definitely big tech censorship in alliance with the Biden administration right now. Now we've have another threat in our hands, especially as a crypto guy myself, someone that is into crypto technologies. This is going to be another threat to what there is to come. And this is coming from a proactive article, and which is talking about the new U.S. Treasury, which this is coming from a Biden administration. Janet Yellen, which she was, for those of you guys don't know, she was the former Fed chairwoman during Obama's reign at the time. And so now you look at this here. She's now gone from being from a chairwoman back on Obama's administration. Now she's going to go and be on to becoming or already has become the U.S. Treasury Secretary, as you call it. And now, this news is definitely disturbing. And I was listening to this news on Ivan on Tech, and which he reported about this too. And I think people like Janet Yellen, this definitely describes how much I despise big governments so much. And which air on proactive, which says Yellen speaks what now for Bitcoin, gold, the dollar, and MMT. So this is where I think it is definitely going to hurt Bitcoin. And as I've already checked on the value this morning, the value for Bitcoin is already now 31K this morning, as I am checking up right now, because the way the Bitcoin is going at right now too is that the U.S. is going to be involved into outlawing Bitcoin, which I sure doubt that. I don't think they're going to do much about that, and I think it is going to be all talk until more action has been done. And this is a serious threat, what they're doing. I just don't. Here's the thing with these boomers. They have no idea the power of Bitcoin. They really don't. And I think they've really lost their marbles. I mean, you look at this right here. this is something they are seriously want to go and outlaw Bitcoin. And the article says it's been a while since markets have heard from Janet Yellen in an official capacity. But back in the mythical past, before there was a Trump presidency, she commanded a considerable degree of respect in her capacity as chair of the Fed. In that context, she was a fairly safe bet for Joe Biden when she got around to considering candidates for Treasury Secretary, and on the strength of her first testimony before Congress in her new role, his faith is likely to prove justified. Republicans are wary, of course. The worry for them is that the Democrats will use the unprecedented stimulus packages, both proposed and ongoing, to smuggle in liberal measures and laws that have little to do with coronavirus relief. Very much. And that's where it all comes down to right there, too. I mean, you look at the U.S. Situation and where we are at. I mean, this is getting real serious. And where I think in the also in deep in the article, which tells you right there, is that the way Janet Yellen described Bitcoin was that these are for criminals, and this is a coin, or a coin that is used based on criminal activities, and does a send alarm bells for those that are in the crypto space or are actively following the crypto news of what is going on. Now, say what you want about cryptocurrencies, even if you're a listener not even a fan of cryptocurrencies whatsoever, too. I think it's important to have some in your portfolio, and you guys may not want to listen, and I'm okay and respect that you may not want to, but they're doing is printing the hell out of dollars after dollars after dollars until the United States ends up becoming bankrupt at some point, too. And to me, I think there is a point that Yellen and all the administration will end up running the U.S. debt really, really high, and especially outlawing cryptocurrencies. How they're going to do it beats me. And I know that there's been countries that I know India have already proposed a ban on crypto already. Russia, I've last heard as well. And there are other countries that are gonna want to do it because they see this as a threat to the establishment. And though I don't think they understand the concept of it too. I mean, this is a currency of the future, trying to get away from all the centralization of what is going on. Though, and that's one thing they don't understand about it. And I think this is something everybody's gonna have to watch out and keep an eye on this news right there very, very closely. And I will go ahead and post the links down below in the show notes so you can continue reading on for yourself. And because I know that this woman is no good. Oh boy. But however, if you end up mining some more, digging up some more Bitcoin, buying some more Bitcoin, putting it in a paper wallet right there, it'll be your best bet to hold up on it and invest it somewhere. However, I don't recommend all exchanges. If you have an exchange on a exchange platform, by all means try to move it to a paper wallet or however you're going to do it. Just be careful with your cryptos because it can be you can easily lose cryptos in a heartbeat too, because I know recently cryptocurrency exchanges have had been hacked, and there was that one company I was actually listening to on a podcast. I don't remember the name of the podcast, but that right there, I'm just gonna say in the footnote is that do your research. Just be careful where you put your Bitcoins at, because if a company gets hacked, and if you can't retrieve it back, then you're screwed. You're fucking screwed. And that's what I just wanted to say, is be careful where you put your cryptos at, because at this point, I think it's time. It's a good time to start hodling. I mean, to a point and to an extent that the currency will be strong, but that won't last forever, and that's where I urge everybody to look into checking up other cryptocurrencies. Do your research, and don't just take it from me. Do your research. I think it is the best thing that you'll do right there for yourselves. And as I'm continuing on to this point too, which for me, I have to say, I am pretty upset. What is going on with crypto falling down to 10% this week? And as I am looking over, which over on the charts right here, Bitcoin is like I mentioned before, 31k over, still over 31k, and it has dropped to 10%. I do have a bit of confidence that crypto will climb back further down the road, and who knows. In fact, one of the biggest news I think everyone should hear about is that with everything happening, Chainlink, it's a smart contract currency, and I've actually read a little bit about smart contracts. I think it's actually pretty unique how a Chainlink, way they're looking at it right there is they've the way smart contracts work is where decentralization comes together pretty much with traditional banking, while on the other hand, like cryptocurrencies like Ethereum and Bitcoin and other coins aren't able to do that from the protocol. And that's one thing with Chainlink. And this is a small project, but the value on Chainlink has grown. In the first time I've heard about Chainlink, it was on the currency was around $19. But however, when it was high at that point, I remember I said, I'm not gonna buy it this high. I'm gonna just wait until the dip, and then I did. Very very fortunate enough that I did purchase Bitcoin or Chainlink, excuse me, right when it was on the dip around $12 to $13 at the time. Though it didn't dip that much, though I'm sure there were earlier adopters that went ahead and decided to purchase Chainlink when it started around $10. And Chainlink, it is still very very new in the space, and there are going to be more adaptive and other cool projects that's going to be around the works, and there's a lot more to come as well. To me, I am excited where Chainlink is going and things like that as well. And what does show is that it's just not just smaller developers, just people buying and mining cryptocurrencies. But however, one of the banks, I believe Bank of America, one of the big banks in the United States, is that they're going to be going to the route of getting crypto right in the banks, which however I don't believe the banks are going to be safe to put your deposits, because one of the things that a lot of people forget is that banks are never safe. Banks are not your friend. And let's say if anything were to happen to a bank, or if you lost all the value in your fiat, whatever, right? You'll end up losing a lot coming from fiat. And so that's what's happening, where I think a lot of people are putting so much faith into a monetary banking system, and it's like this. Like if you start to end up putting your cryptocurrencies in a one of those traditional financial institutions, and you cannot get your cryptos out, and what happens then? You're gonna be crying to your brother, and you're not gonna get all that back. At this point, that's where I say that you have to definitely be self-responsible and be responsible with all your currencies, because at this point, it's not just governments that's going to be collapsing like a house of cards. It's definitely like big tech monopolies are going to be happening the same way and much much more, which over time when things start to develop, I know what I'm going to be talking about, and I'm sure that a lot of people that have followed the monetary money, the things that's what's going on. I think that's where things are starting to come hitting down like a stack of cards, and things are not going to stay the way it is forever. Nothing will be, and that's where I think with decentralization, I think this is going to be a big hit for many many people, and by the time people find this out very late in life, they're going to be they're going to be sinking, and they're going to be left poor. And even with fiat, all these values are going to come down to zero eventually. So just to put it down plain and simple. Now, one of the last stories I will go ahead and bring up right here in the podcast, and which I have to say that was something I wanted to talk about since last week. Didn't put it soon enough because, well, for one, if I didn't, if I didn't talk about these things, I mean, I would left these things very late, and the information will be very dated to this point that it's just no use for me to talk about, here in a current podcast. And so I wanted to go back on CES 2021. So, as all of you already know, all the conferences, all the meetings are going straight digital right now because of the pandemic. And whether good or bad, to me, I don't think every conference shouldn't be shut down completely. Not 100%, because I don't think online meetings, this won't work. I think this is not going to work for a long time. And I think they want to see people in person. And that's how I see this right here too. So I wanted to just kind of catch up with the highlights. In fact, one of the big highlights, I think too, with everyone talking about consumer electronics, like especially like 8K television, which that's not on people's minds. In fact, 8K is still very early. They call it right now that I'm checking over here. The CES TV wrap up begun. The brightness wars have, and so the Neo QLED 8K, and we're not even into this point that people are even talking about, oh, I am ready to get the latest 8K television. And to me, this is something that's not even on my mind. And the way I think those things work with price points, everybody knows that anything that comes out with brand new electronics from LG, Samsung, whatever manufacturer, that's going to be a high price consumer item, just like anything else. It's going to be a high price, and nobody's going to buy the first thing that comes out in the market. That's pretty obvious. So, but I think the huge highlight for me, especially with everything happening, it has to be AMD. That's been a very big a player right now in the processor wars, and Intel definitely has to step up. And this is where they're sliding a little bit too. Now, I haven't catched up with a ton of Intel news. Intel is a very important processor, and I have used Intel in the past with probably with a couple of PC based based laptops and desktops, all that. But again, AMD knows what they're really doing, and they've got things working right into their hands. So processor wars with AMD, that's where I think a lot of people are now going for, is the AMD Ryzen series, which is a very it's very big right now. And then like especially what happened when I was shopping back in, I would say back in November, just doing a little bit of shopping and helping a friend out with a computer build. So the main thing I've noticed with those processors, like during the time of Christmas or mid December, those processors, we're talking about 3000 series, then the 5000 series, were all sold out, right? And they were very much sold out by the time I was trying to find processors, and it's a huge demand right now. And this is where a lot of people from workspaces, gamers, they're going. This is where they're going. And so this year, AMD is trying to please everyone from the health industry to the workspace and people that are working from home, which is awesome. Don't have nothing wrong with WFH people that work from home, and I think that is a good thing. And of course, you don't have to waste gas going from and to to work all the time. So I think it's good that at least you can save a bit of money from on gasoline. So that's great. That's great news for the most part. Absolutely too. And then one thing that did appeal to me, there was an image of of a air taxi. In fact, I think Uber actually released this last year, and they've introduced the Uber Air, which it's like a air taxi. You go from one point A from one city to another city, which is actually really cool. And so let me just read you a bit what's going on with this here too. And here I'm looking over at in this article on CNET, Cadillac EVTOL air taxi. GM used CES to announce that it's transforming itself into an EV company. And by far, the most interesting EV announced was the Cadillac EVTOL air taxi. It's more of a giant drone than a flying car. But this is the kind of stuff that CES announces loves. So that's and this is really tight. And I think this is a taxi that are air taxi that are going to be used for metropolitan areas such as New York, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Miami, New Orleans, you name it. I mean, this is going to be a real killer deal right here too. Now, for taxis in price point, though nobody knows when that's going to be released to the public. And I'm sure that this is not available everywhere, but this is just like a early adoption where this is going to go. I like it. It's actually really neat though. With these brand new air vehicles, I can say it too, or flying cars, whatever, right? Even though technically it's not a home consumer vehicle, it's mostly just an air taxi. And just like I mentioned, I know Uber Air is doing it in a few cities like Los Angeles and New York. But it is not everywhere, of course. So that's still early concept. And then there were tons of things I've actually have to say that there are a lot of things I've been very, very impressed with. But of course, with all the time, I was actually more focused on AMD's presentation. I thought they hit it well for 2021 of their presentation. But so far, I can't wait to see more what they have in stores and moving on and moving forth. Because just at the end of the day, I'm not gonna go down and check every single thing that comes up on CES. And I know there are tons of products that I may have overlooked and not seen. But hey, who knows what else there it's going to come in the forefront. So a lot of exciting stuff too. But however, less exciting about 5G, which to me, I'm not so much interested in the mobile space anymore. To me, desktop is just picking up steam again, which is perfectly awesome because with everyone working at home, I think that gives a perfect reason for people to look into desktops because there's people, like I've said, people working at home and they're seeing the convenience about working at home again. And that's how there are so far cool things about it, and things that are very much has its own disadvantages as well. So with that said, I'm gonna go leave the show to a close right here. If you love what you've heard today, please by all means throw me a like, throw me a review, and if you love this episode, by all means, if you have someone that's interested in technology, share them this episode. It'd be wonderful. But with that said, thank you so much for listening to the Leon LeGray podcast. You guys have yourselves a great rest of the day. Goodbye and ciao.